Hey yo, what is up guys? It's your boy Quartet back with another video, and today guys, in this video we're gonna review the Apple M1 MacBook Air. So anyways guys, before we go into this video, you guys can get 20% off on any item that you purchase in my merch store. The link will be in the description below. Also the promo code will be in the description below, so make sure you guys go over there and check. So before we go into this video guys, I want you all to just smash that like button down below. Can we hit some likes on this video? Just hit it, just do it, just smash it.
Smash.
So anyways guys, let's get into this video.
My pleasure. My pleasure. My pleasure. Everything is just fine.
In a week of testing, I've pushed this computer and its new Apple-made processor to its limits and found those limits exceeding my expectation on nearly every level. I've also used this computer in a way MacBook Air is really meant to be used, as an everyday computer for workday tasks. When doing so, I clock 8 and sometimes 10 hours of continuous use. Coming in this review, I have a catalog of potential pitfalls that Apple could have fallen into when switching from an Intel chip to its own processor. This MacBook Air not only avoids most of all those pitfalls, but gratefully leaps over them. On the outside, the new MacBook Air is nearly identical to the Intel-based one released. It also has the same starting price at $999 for a model with 8GB of RAM and 250 processor compared to the pricer configurations. Though I can't speak, the model I'm testing has 16GB of RAM and 1TB of storage for $1,649. There's only one difference between the new one and the latest model. Apple swapped out some of the buttons on the function row for more useful ones. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at how good this is. The other differences are all on the inside. There's no fan anymore. For one thing, it's just an aluminum heat spreader, but even when pushing this machine to its absolute limit, I never felt it getting more than a little warm. Unfortunately, that's similar extended to the webcam, which is a 720p resolution, and that's terrible. Apple has tried to borrow some of the real-time images processing from the iPhone to try to bring this image up, and I do find that it does a better job, evenly light my face, but mostly what I notice is that it looks bad. One other internal changes that will affect the Mac Pro users and developers more than the average MacBook Air user is that Apple has switched to an undefined memory architecture, so no more separated graphics memory. Apple claims this is more efficient. Unfortunately, I can't speak whether the 8GB model has enough RAM to comfortably handle both CPU and GPU needs. The MacBook Air performs like a pro-level laptop. It never grows under multiple apps. It handles intensive apps like Photoshop and even video editing apps like Adobe Premiere without complaint. It has never made me think twice about loading up another tab or browser. I've used Windows laptops with ARM processor and they are slower, buggier and more complicated than Intel machines, even though I figure Apple would handle Intel ARM transition better. I didn't expect everything to work as well as it does. I know that the Mac OS Apple's own apps will be fast, many of which would have been coded specifically to work with its processor. What has shocked me is how very well the app runs. Some background apps are usually built to work with a specific kind of processor, so when they are run on a machine with a different processor, some kind of extra work has to happen under the hood. On the Mac, that work is done by the piece of software called Rosetta, which you can install the first time you run the Intel-based app. It means those apps takes a bit longer to launch, but once they are running, they just run. Apple has claimed that the machine can get up to 18 hours of video playback and 15 hours of wireless web, both of which are very large claims. The company tells me that I should expect battery life to be much as 50% better than the last year, and the battery inside this computer isn't bigger than the previous models. All those improvements come down with increased efficiency. My actual result, I'm getting between 8 and 10 hours of real sustained work depending on how hard I'm pushing it. That's not quite 50% better than the last MacBook Air, but it's very close. To be very clear, I'm getting those numbers using apps I actually use, which of course include Chrome and various apps that are based on Chrome Engineer like Slack. What's remarkable about that is that some application, Rosetta 2, needs to do a bunch of real-time code translation which further eats into battery life. If and when these apps are rewritten and can be universal apps, I would expect to see an even better battery life. It might not seem odd to mention this in the next context of battery life, but the MacBook Air is now weakened instantly from sleep, and apps that were running before you shut down the laptop are much quicker to catch themselves up. It's suitable, but I've found myself willing to shut down the Air close more often than I use with the other laptop because waking up from it is so seamless. If you're trying to choose between the 13-inch MacBook Pro and the MacBook Air, I think the battery life is going to be deciding factors for most people. The Pro is consistently getting a couple of more hours of charge. One benefit of using the MacBook using the same processor as the iPhone and iPod is that it can now run iPhone apps and iPod apps. To find them, you need to filter them into the Mac App Store. Developers are not allowed to distribute iOS app user directory, unfortunately. When you head over to the Mac App Store, you find your favorite apps. Prepare to be disappointed. Click on your name on the lower left, then click the tab for the iPhone and the iPod apps, which will show you all the apps you've installed on your iOS device. What I found was a gallery of abundant where mostly apps from developers that haven't been updated to be aware of new. Developers have the option to get their apps out of being made available on the Mac. Many developers have done so. Instagram, Slack, Gmail, and so many other simple aren't available. I suspect these developers made that choice because they wanted to make sure they didn't have a messy Word app experience on the Mac. Because iOS apps on the Mac are a messy weird experience, Apple should have slapped a better label for this feature. Apps that are coded to work with the latest iPod coding standards are great. Overcast podcasting app is quite good and feels totally usable. HBO Max on the other hand is a mess. It appears in a little window you can't resize, nor you can full screen videos. Like really? The experience is also a little sluggy, though Apple tells me the following issues have. I installed Telegram messing iOS apps, which works well at first, but when a new message comes in, the apps open up on the top of my other window. The larger bug is that I was unable to delete it. Using the usual method of clicking an X button to launch Center. Even when I delete it manually in the Finder, it still seems to stick around for a few minutes until I reboot it. Apple has built a new system for every iOS app that is available on the Mac called Touch Alternatives. It is a series of button gestures and indication to make apps that are needed to touchscreen to work on the Mac. And yet Apple is bending itself into knots to avoid doing what obviously needs to be done. Put a touchscreen on the Mac. Luckily, you can ignore all of these iOS apps until developers optimize them or Apple's figure out even a better way to clean up the weird stuff. So anyways guys, we've come to the end of this video. If you guys love anything regarding to tech or tutorials or anything, just leave a comment down below and I'll get back to you. So anyways guys, it's me, your boy Core Tech. Peace out.